Are you feeling sad or depressed? It's okay to admit it if you are. Everybody feels sad or depressed at some times in their life. The challenge with this day and age is many men are feeling sad and depressed almost all the time. In fact, right now, Big Pharma's cashing in on your sadness and depression. Antidepressants, this pill, that pill, take this, take that. More men are taking testosterone boosters than never before that directly impacts your emotions, your testosterone levels. More men are on antidepressants. More men commit suicide than women. Not that it's a competition of who can off each other first, but there's a lot of talk on women's empowerment, and not much going on for the guys. And that's why we've got this channel, so we can connect, we can have some real talk with men, and we can get down to some of life's challenges. Sadness and depression, it sucks to live with it. So let's deal with it. Let's talk about it. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. And in this particular conversation, we're going to be sharing a technique out of the S3X Alchemy playbook. You can use this technique right away today. You'll do it with us. And you can use it, and it's going to start to help clear up that sadness and depression. We're going to talk about it on the physical level, where it's stored in your body and how you can move it and get rid of it. We're also going to be talking about how you can transmute it and actually use it to your advantage. Everything, once you learn the secrets of alchemy, anything that comes your way can be used to your advantage. So some people think, oh, I've got a sickness, I've got sadness and depression, I've got a relationship issue, I've got a financial issue, I've got a health issue. Everything can be used to your advantage, but you have to get into the right mindset. So we're going to talk about the mental and emotional responses, as well as the spiritual elements of sadness and depression, and ultimately what you can do to rid yourself, your body, and your life of this forever. Captain Jake is back. Big tour across Italy.
Yeah,
Big
I was on
baller.
tour. I just came back from tour, and I can really relate to this depression subject. My father suffered with depression. I saw him go through that. It was a big struggle, and I've felt it myself at times. I've had therapy in my early 20s and stuff to figure things out, and I can recognize in a lot of my friends and people, we all have it a little bit. And even coming off a tour, it's a bit weird. I start to feel my mood go down because it's like doing so much and then suddenly back to normality, and it's like what's happening. So we all get in different moods, and I certainly get down sometimes. It takes over. So it's great to know some techniques to relieve that and to talk about it, to share with other guys, just to let everyone know it's all right to speak about.
Yeah, for sure. Marco, hello, my guy. Hello, Marco. Thanks so much for joining us live. And by the way, if you're here with us live, go ahead, leave some comments below, leave questions. We want to hear your thoughts, your opinions. It's a discussion, so jump into the discussion. The more you share, the more you get out of it. Also, make sure you guys subscribe, notify, all that good stuff. It really helps us get this channel out to more men who so badly need it right now. So let's do our opening track, and then we'll be back and get into some techniques in this discussion.
Soldiers retain, real strong men are self-control, their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain, soldiers retain, soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control, their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain, soldiers retain.
Yeah, what's going on, my soldiers? We are back here. Thanks so much for tuning in once again. We got Krishna Das here with us. What's going on? So appreciate you guys being here. So we've been talking about sadness and depression. So first of all, let's get right into the technique so you can use that right away. We'll even do it. You guys could do it with us, and then we'll explain it. So we'll do the technique, then we'll explain the technique and have a quick discussion around it. So sit up straight, back straight, spine straight. Tuck your chin in. Again, you want to totally straighten your spine as much as possible. You can do this standing. You can do it sitting. It don't matter. What you're going to do is, so according to the Taoists, so we're going to take from the Taoist tradition in this, and they say that we store our emotions in our body. And from my personal experience, I would agree with them, is that our emotions tend to stay in our body. So most of us live in our head in this age. We're very head centric, right? We try to think everything through, right? And try to mentally figure things out. And of course, generally what that causes is just more confusion, because there's very conflicting thoughts and ideas. So if we can get to the physical level, it kind of takes us out of our head and puts us back into our body, and recognize that, all right, our emotions and our body are one thing. So if I'm feeling an emotion, I'm feeling it in my body. Now, specifically, the Taoists say that we store our sadness and our depression in our lungs. And there might be a correlation. Like if you've noticed people with sadness and depression, maybe have lung issues. It physically shows up.
Or they're like this, like they're slumped over and their lungs
right.
are tucked in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good noticing that. Actually, I've never even really thought about
holding
that.
it in there. Like,
yeah, so you're slunched
down.
over. Yeah, your shoulders are slunched over, your head's down, which of course is affecting your ability to breathe in and bring in oxygen. So yeah, good notice there. That's an interesting catch. So let's straighten up our backs. And of course, our back is straight, lungs are wide open. And of course, the more we open ourselves up entirely, the more our whole energy body and our physical body get to be cleared. What you're going to do is you're going to work with the sound. So we're going to make this sound, and vibrations have certain frequencies, and this is a world of vibration. And if you think in vibration, and that's how you get trained to think as an alchemist. So for guys who come through our Become a Sexual Alchemist program, you're going to start to learn to see the world in vibrations, and, good vibration, not good as in far as morality per se, but like, is this a negative vibration? Is this a positive vibration? Is it neutral? Right? In the Vedas, it talks about these modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance, right? So if we can learn to just view the world through these different modes, then we can see what is beneficial and what's not beneficial very easily. So what we want to do is we want to learn to use sound vibration to help get energy moving and clear things out. So we're going to use the sound. Think of like a snake hissing. And we're going to use our breath, and we're going to use our mind. So we're engaging the physical body, we're engaging our sound, we're engaging our imagination. And imagination is where things are created. If you think about God, he's creating through imagination. It says that in the Vedas, it says that God glances over the material nature and things come into form. We could think about, like in the Bible, it talks about imagination, the imaginatory faculty, that what we're imagining is what we're creating. And so one thing that you got to think about is, how much time do you spend dwelling on things like, I'm sad, I'm sick, I don't feel good. You're imagining it, you're planning it. I'm probably going to be feeling crappy tomorrow. I'm probably going to be feeling crappy next week. I've lived with depression, my whole life. So I just accept that this is it. This is a misuse of your imagination. It's like someone gives you a knife, and the knife, is meant to carve out a beautiful painting or carve out a beautiful a statue. But instead you take the knife and you start cutting yourself. That's basically what 90% of people or 95% of people are doing with their imagination. They're turning their imagination into their own hell because they continuously imagine the worst case scenarios. So we need to learn to imagine, recognizing that when we're imagining something, we are literally sending that vibration through our nervous system, connected to the entire nervous system and the entire universal body. And that's how you can actually evoke the law of attraction. Just like your own body. If you recognize how your own body works, you can recognize how the whole thing is working the exact same way. So signals get sent from the heart to the brain, and a thought appears. Well, signals get sent from you to the entire universal body, and things happen. So we're constantly sending and receiving signals. So by using our imagination, we can literally imagine ourselves as healthy, imagine ourselves as prosperous, imagine ourselves as the person that we want to become. And in this case, we want to become fulfilled. We want to be full of peace. We want to be full of joy and bliss. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the color white, and we're going to imagine that when we take a breath in, that white light or white vapors is filling up our lungs, just filling up our lungs. And then we're going to release everything, all sadness and depression, through the power of intention, through the mouth. We're going to release it with the sound. So we'll do it one more time. We're going to breathe in white light, white vapors into the lungs. And now imagine all sadness and depression leaving like vapor out the mouth. Now what we can do is we're going to add a little bit of movement, because when we get the body to be engaged with it, we're also invoking muscle memory. We're teaching our body. We're reprogramming our body. Oh no, I'm a happy dude. I'm a healthy dude. I'm full of peace. I'm full of joy. You have to program yourself to do it. Like Neo in the Matrix, when they stick that thing in the back of their head and he's like, whoa, then he comes down and he's like, I know Kung Fu. Right? Now, unfortunately, we're not like Neo in the Matrix. So we're kind of like him, but we have to do a little bit more in the real world. Unfortunately, this is not a Hollywood movie. So what we're going to do is when we breathe in, you're going to bring your hands up to your lungs. Flip your hands over and then push that sadness and depression out using the sound. Let's do it one more time. And one more time. Now take your hands and put them on your lungs. All your awareness, and put them into your lungs. And this is called inner smiling. And just smile inside of yourself. Smile at your lungs. And if you're thinking, what? Just send yourself like a good vibe. Notice what comes up. Are you uncomfortable with it? Are you uncomfortable showing yourself affection or love? Are you uncomfortable with your own thoughts? I mean, how many of us turn to drugs, alcohol, pornography, because what we are trying to do is escape these negative emotions? But if you embrace these negative emotions, all of a sudden they become your friend. You have to kind of make friends with your lungs, with your sadness and depression. All right. Nice. How do you feel, man?
Yeah, I feel like a weight's lifted in this area just by doing those sounds, breathing, and so in the lungs it just feels light and peaceful. And yeah, I've got experience doing these healing sounds for some time now, and yeah, things do come up, especially in the beginning. It can be uncomfortable, but if you keep doing it, it really does reprogram the old tendencies of like negativity. It changes them over to these more positive vibes. So it's very good technique.
If you imagine your body to be like a computer system, you can reprogram your computer. You can reprogram your body. It's like a computer system. It's like data, right? That's all it is. If you kind of just approach it that way and you're like, it's just data. It's not you. The challenge is, and let's get into the source of this. And I'm going to say that the source is misidentifying with the body. Like we believe I'm the body. I'm sick. Well, no, your body's sick. But your spirit, your soul or consciousness, energy, that's who you are. And once you realize for yourself, oh, I'm spirit, and I really have nothing to do with matter. Matter is like a reflection of the spirit. It's like, you know, a kind of like a cherry on top of the cake. It's just a little covering at the end, right? But I really have nothing to do with the physical body, but I have a physical body. You could think of that like your computer. I'm clearly I hope everybody clearly knows you're not your phone or your computer, even though I think a lot of people think they are their phone. You know how I think that? Because when they don't have their phone with them, they're like,
it's like missing a part of the body.
Yeah. A piece of me is missing. Oh my gosh, where's my phone? Right? So in a way, we've become so identified. And now we can go down the rabbit hole of transhumanism, where, you know, this whole idea of we're like normalizing this idea that, you know, man and machine are pretty much the same, right? But we are not the same, not even close. And so think about it. We all know that we're not the phone or we're not the computer. And because we know that, even when the computer breaks down, as long as we're very clear that this is not we're not the phone or computer, it's not a big deal. You're not like freaking out. You're just like, oh, I'll just go reprogram it, right? You know, or I'll have to repair it, or maybe there's some programs running inside. So what happens when your phone or your computer gets a little virus, a program that's not running right? You got to get rid of it. You got to deal with it, or you have to install another program that's more powerful that can override it. These alchemy techniques that we teach are new programs in which you can install into your body, your computer, so that it runs properly again. It runs the way God and nature designed it to run. And here's the thing, when you misidentify with your body, when you think I am the body, then you start to live from a place of scarcity almost right away. You live from a place of sadness and depression because the body is going to die. Oh no. And I'm the body. I'm going to die. Oh no. Then you become like, I learned this word, nihilistic. It's like when you like believe there's no meaning to life or nothing. So you're just like, well, what's the point of it all if I'm just going to die? But once you become spiritually realized, you're like, death is an illusion. I live. Jesus said, my Father is a father of the living, not of the dead. Meaning, it's you. Why are you so scared of death? Why are you so scared of sickness? It's these things that you're scared of, that you're actually imagining, that you end up literally putting into your body and then having to experience. So yes, this material body will pass. This material body will get sick, just like your computer. Eventually, it's going to happen. It's just part of nature. But because you spiritually, you don't identify as the body, you know yourself to be an internal spirit soul connected to God, which is the ultimate sum total of all spiritual souls. And you feel good right away. You're like, oh yeah, why am I freaking out? Why am I living with worry? Why am I living with sadness? Why am I living with all this? It's because I'm misidentified. Jake, I know you have been studying some spiritual sources or spiritual material about sadness and depression. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, just as you were saying, the spiritual symptoms to all these like mental illnesses, just as you said, we're not the body, we're also not the mind, we're the spirit soul, that's the consciousness observing all these things happening. So the soul is not sick, the soul is not mentally ill or something like that, but we are using these vehicles and we're confusing them for us, and therefore it causes more suffering. So I heard that there's three main categories of mental illness in this material world. Depression is one. They say schizophrenia is another, and psychopath, right? And they all have spiritual symptoms. So someone who's depressed on a very subtle level, spiritual level, they say, is someone who sees through the illusion of this material world, but doesn't know the solution. Yeah. So the thing is, with a lot of people who are depressed, you ask them why they're depressed, and a lot of what they say is true. It's not like they're right. Often intelligent. Oh, this world is full of suffering. No one cares about each other. We're not in touch with nature. Whatever. It's like, right. It's true. It's like you can't deny it. So it's like, right. I get why you're depressed. Problem is they don't they don't understand that they are a spiritual being beyond this, and there's a solution on how to go beyond that. They're so absorbed in it. Imagine to see through the illusion but to not know the way out. That's depressing, right? So that's why people are depressed.
Man, that's
yeah,
that's really nice. I appreciate you sharing that. That's really nice reflection. It's like what we're like, oh, I'm feeling depressed, and having these nihilistic ideas is depressing, and it's the truth, right? In a certain sense, right? People are disconnected, people are lonely, people don't generally care about each other.
there is suffering. This material world is full of suffering, especially when you identify yourself as just a material being.
Right.
It's almost all there is suffering for you.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it, right? But without realizing that there is also a spiritual solution, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So really interesting. Anyways, you were keep going. You were going to say
no,
something.
I mean, we're talking about depression, so that's the main point. But it's just the others, just in case, for like, you know, just for interest. The schizophrenia apparently is someone who sees through the illusion and knows a solution, but can't do it, can't get there. So I'm like that. I'm not saying I'm a schizophrenic. I haven't been diagnosed, but one moment I'm feeling all spiritual, next moment I can't do it anymore. I'm feeling all like materialistic. It's like there's a conflict there. So you see through the illusion, and you know something that can help you, but you're unable to do it fully. So you're like always going back and forth. You know, you're in between. And then they say a psychopath is someone who, like you say, is again nihilistic and just basically doesn't care. They may see through the illusion, but they just don't care. So they just, this world is like this, but I'm just going to use it for my own gain, and I'm just, you know, they've decided to go that way with it. So it's all, these problems all have the same spiritual symptom, is that we know, like that we're spiritual beings having a material experience, but it's certain layers of illusion and confusion that cause us suffering, you know, and ways that we deal with it. Some get depressed, some are confused and become schizophrenic about it, some just become a psychopath about it. Well, I'm just gonna do whatever I want, that I don't care anymore. It's like,
it's really interesting. I appreciate that conversation of, like, you know, again, someone who's depressed or someone who's schizophrenic actually is seeing reality. They're seeing the truth of the world, of this material world, but they don't know what to do about it. So now it's just a depressing situation. So when you know what to do about it, though, then you can shift that. So let's move on. I want to give a couple, like, I want to give a couple things on the physical level. So we talked about the alchemy technique. We showed that to you. So if you're just joining us, when you're watching the recording, you can watch the the technique, and you can implement that. Look, let's talk about some basics as men. First of all, if you're feeling depressed on a biological level, so we're not, good chances are your testosterone is low. Good chances are, here's some simple things that you can do. Start cleaning up your eating, right? Like, first thing, start eating real food. Start cleaning up what you're eating. Stay away from the processed stuff. Get those sugars and all that crap out of your diet. And I know it's sometimes difficult to say no. You know, I don't know. No. You have to exercise the power of no. You have to start drawing boundaries for yourself. It's okay to say no to things, all right? You don't have to feel the pressure. I'll give you a perfect example. Last night, I was at family's house. A bunch of us, we had a nice dinner together. Everybody after ate cake and ice cream. I didn't. Because I'm just in a space right now where I feel so good that I'm like, no, I don't want that, because I already know if there's a high, then there's going to be a low, right? And I'm like, nah, I'm feeling too good. I don't want to put that in my body. And I just said, no, thank you. You don't have to make a big deal of it. And if you don't make a big deal of it, it's not a big deal. It's truly not a big deal. It's cake, right? Or it's sugar. It's a child. Like, again, stop making big deals of things that aren't big deals, right? And oftentimes we make a big deal out of small things because, well, again, we're not connected to anything bigger. And this is my second point, is that if you really want to get out of that sadness and depression, start giving yourself bigger goals to work towards, right? When I say, like, maybe it's, I'm going to get into good physical health, start working out. One of the best things you can do for your mental health is working out. Lift weights. Like, lift, especially as men, lift heavy shit, basically, right? Because it helps us get it. First of all, it releases good endorphins. I mean, you can go and dive into the millions of science behind it. But the point is, everybody unanimously, men, women, doesn't matter, lifting weights, working out, exercise makes you feel good. Most of us live way too sedentary. We're on the couch all day. We're in front of computers all day. We're looking at our phone all day. And then we wonder why we don't have energy, why we need to sleep so much, because you're not moving your body. Think of your bloodstream like a circuit of energy. It needs to move. If it's not moving, think of it like water. If water becomes stagnant, what happens? It starts to develop, mold. It starts to develop all this bacteria, this nasty stuff. So similarly, if your blood isn't moving because you're just sitting around all day, you're going to be like toxic. And literally you're going to be, because your body's toxic, then you can move to the mental, emotional level. Your mind, your thoughts will be toxic and your emotions will be toxic. And then you're going to create more loneliness, depression, and sadness because people ain't going to want to hang around with you because they're going to be like, I don't know, they're kind of toxic, right? Or right, you'll realize like really happy people don't want to hang around with negative people because they can feel it and they're like, oh, because if you're healthy, you don't want to hang around with poison, right? Why? Right? So similarly, you have to have enough discipline and focus. And again, that's why I recommend everybody joining our program, becoming students, because first of all, you're going to be around a really great group of guys like myself, of course, all right? Who doesn't want to hang out with me, right? You got Captain Jake. I mean, look at his hair. Who doesn't want to hang around with that all day? Go on, show it. Look at that. All right. And all the other guys from around the world who are living positive lifestyles. The more you hang around with positive people, the more positive you're going to feel, the happier you're going to feel, and you're going to get that vibe. So you want to exercise, you want to eat well, you want to hang out with positive people, you want to listen to positive things because you're like reprogramming yourself. This is the way this computer, this body is going to think. And then spiritually, you want to become a person of service. And I don't hear any doctors or the medical community talking about this at all. And this is the actual solution. The solution is to know what is your purpose. And your purpose is to serve, to help others. Your purpose is to be of service to this world. You weren't born simply so you could just watch Netflix and do drugs and watch porn all day. Like, this is not why you were born. You think like of all creation and all of the magic in creation, you're like, you know what I'm gonna do with my life? Sit here by myself, spanking my monkey, right? This is a waste of time. And it's against nature's will, and therefore it's against God's will or your own internal will. That's why you feel depressed when you're doing it. That's why you feel sad when you're doing it, because you're disconnected. So get out there and help other people. Make your life about others. So if you're a father, be an amazing father and make your life about serving your kids and setting up the next generation. If you're a husband, be an awesome husband. Make your life about serving your wife and your family. Be a service to your community, right? Be of service to God. And there's so many different religious organizations that facilitate this. So there's no excuse in this world. There's so many ways. If you're thinking, I don't know what to do, then say, I don't know what to do, but I have a desire to be of service. And when you start to be of service to others, the truth will be revealed to you within your own heart, because you will recognize what the real purpose of life is. And ultimately, it's relationship. You can only be in relationship when you serve others. See, most of us go into relationships to take, right? What's she going to do for me? What are my children doing for me? When we put ourselves at the center of life, we suffer. Because it is factually not the truth. None of us are the center of life. When we put God at the center of our life, the spiritual being that connects us all, and we serve that through others. How do you serve God? By serving his devotees, by serving his people, by serving. You have to do it through a medium. And the way, when you get this and you fully get it, not you just get it and that sounds nice and motivational, but when you really realize it for yourself, you will first of all recognize your own spiritual truth and identity, and your sadness and depression will leave because you are now in alignment with the truth of life, which is that you are actually a servant of life. Jesus Christ said, he who comes first comes last and is servant of all. What we want to do is we want to come first, but we don't want to be served. We don't want to be the servant. We want to be the served. And it's actually not our position. And that's why we suffer. Make a sense? Make it a sense?
Yeah, make it a sense, man.
Does people in Italy talk like that, or is just that a very ignorant North American? Hey, bada boom, bada bing. Does it make a sense?
They were talking in Italian, so I couldn't tell because they didn't often talk in English. So I was just like, oh, I know 3 words. Yeah, I did actually go to Florence. Yeah,
I'm fascinated with Florence. There's a show on Netflix called Home Game, and it's like this ancient game where basically think rugby, but no rules, full on bare knuckle fist fights. The whole it's crazy. And they play it in Florence. It's so dangerous. It's probably one of the most dangerous, if not, it's the most dangerous game I've ever seen anyways. There may be more dangerous games out there for, but I've only seen this and I say it's the most dangerous game. It is brutal. And it's so dangerous that they only play it twice a year because most of the players can't you just have so much time for recovery that you just can't play it more than that. So anyway,
didn't see that, but I
you didn't take part.
I did go to Florence. No. But yeah, awesome. No, it was nice there. There's a nice comment here. There's a few comments, but one, they were just I put them up. They were very supportive comments, so thanks guys for your comments. But there's a really nice one from Cindy who says, my mother has Alzheimer's and dementia. She doesn't know me anymore. I was raised in church. My dad was a minister. I know the body is just the vessel. I know my mom's soul is well.
Yes. Beautiful, Cindy. And first of all, our prayers for your mother who's got Alzheimer's and dementia. You know, it's tough. We're not saying that it's not tough and that life is not tough. Life is tough. That's why we have to be tough ourselves. You know, we can't just let life beat us up. But once we know that we're soul, as Cindy knows, then we know that we're above the material nature, so it doesn't become as tough anymore, and we can have a lot of joy in this life. And I think you'll find the most joy when you're in relationship, meaning friendships, mother, father, right? Lovers. There's so many different types of relationships, and the more that you can be in relationship and all the different types of relationships, then you'll really see that that's what life is all about. It's what God wants. If God is one, he's had to create you so he could have a relationship with you, right? And it's all he wants. He just wants to hang out, maybe play some games, fight some demons, whatever it is, and so it's all about those relationships. And the way we form the best relationships is when we come from a spirit of service. And that is our true position. But once we forget that, and then we think, I need to be served, I need to be the center, it's all about me. And we all fall into this, we're all guilty of it, but it's our work to straighten that out and get to the good stuff. So guys, I got to jump off because I've got a call I got to jump on. And by the way, if you want to book a call with me, you want to connect with me, you're interested in practicing alchemy, check out the links below. You could take the free ejaculation control guide. I highly recommend it. Start your journey today by doing that. You can also reach out to me directly. Reach out to Captain Jake, and we'll be here to be of service for you. We're back next week, same time, same place. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and all that good stuff, and we'll check you then. Peace.
Soldiers retained. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retained. Soldiers retained.